A Rolex Submariner costs somewhere between $800 and $1,200 to manufacture. It retails for around $10,000 at an authorized dealer. On the secondary market, the same watch sells for $15,000 or more. If you walk into a Rolex authorized dealer today and ask to buy one, there is a very high probability they will tell you it is not available. Not because it does not exist, not because the factory has stopped making them, but because Rolex has decided, deliberately and precisely, that you cannot simply buy one. The waiting list is not a logistical problem, it is the product itself. To understand how this is possible, you need to understand that the luxury watch industry is not in the business of selling timepieces. It is in the business of selling membership to a closed system. A system where access itself is the scarce commodity, not the object. Every major luxury watch brand, Rolex, Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet, Richard Mille, has spent decades constructing an economic architecture that makes their products simultaneously desirable and unavailable. Desirable enough that people spend years on waiting lists, unavailable enough that receiving one feels like an achievement rather than a purchase. This combination, desire without access, is the most powerful commercial force in the luxury goods industry, and the Swiss watch industry has mastered it more completely than almost any other sector on Earth. The global luxury watch market generates approximately $50 billion in revenue annually. Switzerland alone exports watches worth over $22 billion per year, from a country with a population of less than 9 million people. That means Swiss watch exports per capita exceed the per capita exports of almost every other manufactured good in the world. A nation of 9 million people generates more luxury watch export revenue than most industrial nations generate from entire manufacturing sectors. The physical object at the center of this economy, a mechanical watch, has been technologically obsolete as a timekeeping device since the invention of the quartz movement in 1969. Your smartphone keeps time more accurately than any mechanical watch ever made, to a margin that no human being can perceive in daily life. And yet the mechanical watch industry generates $50 billion a year. That gap between technological obsolescence and commercial dominance is the entire story of luxury watch economics. Rolex does not sell directly to consumers in most markets. It sells through a carefully controlled network of authorized dealers, jewelers, and watch retailers who have been granted the right to carry Rolex products. That authorization comes with conditions. The authorized dealer cannot discount Rolex products, cannot advertise Rolex products in ways Rolex does not approve, cannot obtain more stock than Rolex decides to allocate to them. Rolex controls the entire supply chain, from the movement to the case, to the bracelet, to the dial. It manufactures the majority of its own components in-house, a practice called vertical integration that is rare even among Swiss luxury brands. This vertical integration means Rolex controls not just what is produced, but precisely how much reaches the market at any given time. And the amount that reaches the market is, by design, less than the amount the market demands. The secondary market that this artificial scarcity creates is one of the most extraordinary financial ecosystems in the consumer goods world. In 2022, the global pre-owned luxury watch market was estimated at around $20 billion, nearly half the size of the entire primary market. That means for every $2 spent on a new luxury watch, approximately $1 is spent on a watch that someone else already owned. Some watches on the secondary market sell for multiples of their retail price. A Patek Philippe Nautilus, $5,711, a steel sports watch with a retail price of approximately $35,000, was regularly selling on the secondary market for over $100,000 before Patek Philippe discontinued it in 2021. The discontinuation announcement itself caused secondary market prices to spike further, because scarcity increased the moment the production line stopped. Patek Philippe discontinued a product and made it more valuable. That is a level of market control that almost no other consumer goods manufacturer on Earth can exercise. Industry analysts estimate that a Rolex Submariner costs between $800 and $1,200 to manufacture at full production cost, including labor, components, and factory overhead. The retail price is approximately $10,000. That is a gross margin of approximately 88% on a single unit. For comparison, Apple, one of the most profitable technology companies in history, operates at a gross margin of around 45%. Rolex's margin is nearly double Apple's, on a product that has been technologically obsolete for 50 years. The reason this margin is sustainable lies in one of the most carefully maintained psychological constructs in modern commerce: heritage. Every major luxury watch brand has spent enormous resources constructing a narrative of history, craft, and legacy that positions their product not as a consumer good, but as a cultural artifact. Patek Philippe's most famous advertisement has run in various forms since 1996. It shows a father and a son. The message repositions the entire purchase decision. You are not buying a watch. You are participating in a generational transfer of cultural value. The watch is not a product. It is an heirloom, and heirlooms do not go on sale. They do not get discounted. They do not become obsolete. This psychological repositioning from consumer product to cultural artifact is worth more to the luxury watch industry than any manufacturing innovation. The label Swiss made on a watch is not simply a country of origin designation. It is a legally protected quality certification with specific requirements about the percentage of a watch's value that must be produced in Switzerland. But beyond the legal definition, Swiss made carries a cultural weight that has been built over 2 centuries of watchmaking history. When a brand outside Switzerland attempts to compete directly with Swiss luxury watches, they face a barrier that has nothing to do with quality. The barrier is perception, and perception in the luxury goods market is worth more than reality. Seiko's Grand Seiko movement keeps time more accurately than most Swiss luxury movements at a fraction of the price. This is a documented, measurable fact, and Grand Seiko sells for dramatically less than a comparable Swiss luxury watch. Not because it is inferior, but because it is not Swiss. The Swiss-made label is itself a moat, a competitive barrier built not from patents or technology, but from 200 years of cultural storytelling. In 2022, Knight Frank's Luxury Investment Index reported that rare watches had outperformed most traditional investment asset classes over the previous decade. Rare watches returned approximately 147% over 10 years, outperforming art, wine, classic cars, gold, and most equity indices. A physical object, made of steel and glass, with no cash flow, no dividend, no earnings per share, outperforming the stock market. The reason is the same reason all scarce assets appreciate over time. Supply is fixed or declining, while the population of wealthy individuals globally continues to grow. There are a finite number of vintage Patek Philippe references in existence. There will never be more of them, but the number of people wealthy enough to desire them increases every decade. That supply-demand asymmetry drives appreciation as predictably as any financial instrument. And unlike a stock or a bond, the watch can be worn, displayed, experienced physically. It combines investment return with social signaling in a way that no financial instrument can replicate. A watch is one of the few luxury goods that a man can wear in a professional context, without social censure, in boardrooms, at negotiations, on golf courses, and at dinners that determine business outcomes. The watch on the wrist communicates net worth, taste, and access. Not because the watch tells better time, but because the person across the table knows what the watch costs, knows what the waiting list requires, and understands that wearing it communicates membership in a specific economic tier. Richard Mille watches, some retailing for over $1 million, are worn by Formula One drivers, tennis champions, and billionaires not primarily because of their technical specifications. They are worn because they are instantly recognizable as belonging to a category that most people on Earth will never access. The watch is a membership badge, and the annual membership fee is 6 figures. The most profitable products in the modern economy are not the ones that perform a function best. They are the ones that create and maintain a closed system, where access itself is the scarce commodity. Rolex does not make the most accurate watch. It does not make the most technically complex watch, but it has built a system where the act of receiving a Rolex from an authorized dealer communicates something that no amount of technical superiority can replicate. You waited, you were chosen, you belong. That feeling is worth $10,000 to enough people to generate revenues that dwarf entire national manufacturing sectors. The luxury watch industry will face pressure in the coming decades from changing consumer values and generational shifts in what constitutes status signaling. But the industry has survived every technological disruption of the past 2 centuries. The pocket watch, the quartz crisis, the digital watch, the smartwatch. It has survived each of these by doing what it has always done, ignoring the technology, deepening the heritage, tightening the scarcity. The mechanical watch is not competing with the smartwatch on functionality. It never was. It is competing for a different need entirely, the human need to signal permanence, taste, and belonging through an object that cannot be downloaded, cannot be updated, and does not require a charging cable. That need is as old as civilization, and as long as it exists, the closed system will keep collecting. One $10,000 watch at a time.